Good, happy Friday morning, April 3rd, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, fifth death in New Hampshire attributed to COVID-19. 64 other cases announced by DHHS. 10 new patients hospitalized, state officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
We do have some breaking news now on coronavirus in New Hampshire. DHHS has just announced a 5th death. The man lived in Hillsborough County and was under the age of 60, did have underlying medical conditions. 64 new cases were announced today, bringing the total now to 479. 101 people have recovered.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know. Let's take a look. And here is your COVID-19 information in New Hampshire, what you need to know. There are 479 number of people in New Hampshire who have tested positive for COVID-19. 1,009,841 number of people worldwide who have tested positive. 5 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 73 number of people hospitalized with COVID-19. 5,810 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. And this map right here of New Hampshire shows in each town and city where the cases are. For example, Manchester, 63 cases reported. If you want to see this map, we will share this link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. New cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations. And in the red are deaths. A 5th death occurred in New Hampshire. And again, your common symptoms. Fever, cough, and difficult breathing. How it spreads. And prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. We will be sure to update you as soon as possible with all these information of COVID-19 in New Hampshire. State epidemiologist answers viewer questions regarding COVID-19 pandemic. Covered testing and virus behavior. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
At this point, we consider COVID-19 to be widespread in most areas of our state.
State epidemiologist Dr. Benjamin Chan says there are likely more cases in New Hampshire than the numbers show, because not everybody is tested and not everyone shows symptoms.
We believe it is possible for people to be shedding and transmitting this virus before they may develop symptoms, specifically in the first day, 2 or 3 before symptoms develop.
Dr. Chan says doctors are still learning about the new virus. At this point, they believe those who get it develop some type of immunity.
We believe that it produces protective antibodies and that someone is not immediately at risk for acquiring the infection again. How long this immunity lasts for, I think, remains to be seen.
So when are those who test positive no longer contagious?
They need to be at least 7 days out from when their symptoms first began, and they need to have been improving for at least 72 hours. That means fever-free and other symptoms also improving.
With so many making sacrifices to keep a safe social distance, when will we know if those measures are working?
It can take up to a few weeks even to see an impact of these types of social distancing measures, what we call, community mitigation measures, to really see an impact on the numbers.
Dr. Chan says monitor for symptoms and call your doctor if you're sick. Monica Hernandez, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire procurement team races to acquire PPEs, ventilators, beds ahead of COVID-19 surge. Novel coronavirus that caused COVID-19 considered widespread across New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
At Bell-Tape's, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Bell-Tape's Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Find a state police roadblock where entry requires a body temperature check.
You're all set.
Is a room in the Emergency Operations Center where a specialized procurement team is in a race against time.
This group here and myself have been like stockbrokers on the stock exchange trying to get PPE from everywhere from the S&S orders and when they're coming in and how that gets distributed. Commercial vendors and actually borrowing from other vendors.
The state employees working these phones are tracking down personal protective equipment, or PPE, including masks, face shields, and gowns, along with ventilators and other crucial supplies that will be in high demand in the coming wave of COVID-19 cases. Right now, the need is worldwide, making this job all the more difficult.
You have literally everyone in the world competing with all the same manufacturers right now, right? A small municipality in France is competing with the state of New Hampshire, which is competing with the country of Mexico and the United States for these exact same items.
Quite frankly, there are people with suitcases of cash at the factories trying to buy PPE as it comes off the production lines.
The pandemic is still a few weeks away from its peak in New Hampshire. This team is working around the clock to ensure the state's needs will be met.
We're not leaving any stone unturned. We're going to keep pushing. These folks in this room have been doing an incredible job, and they're one of the reasons I have a lot of faith that at the end of the day, whether it's PPE, ventilators, ventilator-type machines, beds, we're going to be prepared.
And when we were at the EOC earlier today, the PPE logistics team was discussing which one of them would be taking a 2 a.m. phone call from an overseas supplier. So for these state employees, this really is around-the-clock work. Reporting live in Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. AMR crews from New Hampshire in coronavirus revenge NYC in New York to assist with 911 calls. 6 people to help FEMA NYC fire crews for next 2 weeks. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer. We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing. We
These 6 first responders are on a mission, risking their own health to help others in the epicenter of the country's fight against coronavirus.
Kudos to all of our staff that are willing to put their lives on the line to help others.
Chris Stawaz of American Medical Response says on Tuesday, New Hampshire sent 2 AMR crews to New York City. They're responding to 911 calls, assisting FEMA and NYC firefighters. Today, it was Brooklyn, but they're in all the boroughs, and they are busy.
His response was, it's what we normally see times 20.
Overall, AMR sent 250 ambulances from across America to New York. One is from Manchester, another from Nashua. The desire to help strong among paramedics.
The amazing part was when we put out the call for volunteers for our staff of who wanted to go, we literally had a list 2 pages long of people that were willing to go out there and assist other people.
Locally, AMR is seeing a drastic dip in 911 calls of 30% in the state's 2 largest cities.
We think that's directly related to the lack of human activity that's going on the streets, less motor vehicle crashes, less interactions with people.
A sign that Stawaz says Granite Staters are following the stay-at-home order.
The next 2 weeks are going to be telltale of what's going to happen and how we're going to get through this, and the most important thing that people can do is stay home.
As for those 6 AMR paramedics, they will be in New York City for at least 2 weeks, but that timetable could be longer as that city deals with a surge in COVID cases. Reporting live in Manchester, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire sets record for new unemployment claims. 56,833 in 2 weeks. Unemployment filing system lagging. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
WMUR's Gene Mackin spoke to the Employment Security Office about the landslide of filings and the frustration.
Well, Tom, these numbers are off the charts. More than 29,000 new claims in New Hampshire 2 weeks ago and more than 27,000 last week. Each week has exceeded the total number of claims made all year. Tamara Schrum is a first-time filer.
It's been horrific. I filed my office. I'm a dental hygienist. My last day of work was March 17th. I filed on the 18th, and I've yet to receive payment.
She says she's been left in tears after long waits on the phone and answering questions. As of tonight, this Mount Vernon family's been told to expect their first ever unemployment benefit check by Tuesday.
She raised a kid. She did all these things. She went to school. And like I said, we both worked since we've been in high school, really with no lapse at all.
The Deputy Commissioner of Employment Security says, yes, the system lags during busy times.
There's a tremendous amount of traffic that is hitting that website right now. To put it into perspective, we had 500 people filing new claims the week prior to this crisis hitting.
He says state employees are working around the clock trying to handle the historic filings. He asks for patience and urges people to go first to the website nhes.nh.gov, then use the hotline if you need help at 603-271-7700.
It's nothing like New Hampshire's ever seen before. It's nothing like any of our surrounding states have ever seen before.
So when is the best time to file online? We are told in the morning or the late evening to avoid the busiest times, and be patient. Live in the newsroom tonight, Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Body found in Claremont home after fire identified. Investigation underway to determine cause of fire and death. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer. We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
The name of a man killed in a fire in Claremont this morning. 58-year-old Francis Viola Jr. was found inside a home on Denison Avenue after the flames were put out. Investigators say it started in the kitchen around 4 this morning. No one else was hurt.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. New temporary homeless shelter will help organize, obey social distancing guidelines. State also opening up shelter in Stratford County for homeless COVID-19 patients. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
We have less than 100 dairy farms left in New Hampshire. Tell your grocer today to carry milk with New Hampshire's own logo.
You can't get any more local than buying it from the farmer.
Please help save our farms.
Last month, the New Horizons homeless shelter in Manchester started making some changes.
About every hour, we are wiping down all of the high-frequent surfaces like the tables, the door handles, windowsills, anything people are touching.
And sleeping arrangements were changed as well.
People alternate, so one person will be at the head of the bed, and then the next person will be at the foot of the bed. And so we're doing that in all of our dormitories as well as the mats that are on the floor in the dining hall.
And now, thanks to a $100,000 grant from a private donor, a temporary shelter will be opened up at the former St. Casimir Catholic School.
We're going to operate the same way over here, and it will help just kind of spread people out, kind of enhance the social distancing that we weren't able to do at the shelter.
The National Guard helped set these beds up.
The CDC is actually recommending that it is 3 feet for emergency shelters, and so they are about 3 feet.
The state has also opened up an emergency shelter in Stratford County to quarantine anyone from the homeless community who contracts the virus.
They are locating multiple locations across the state where should someone test positive in a shelter environment, we would be able to access those locations, and there would be all of the supports needed.
So far, no one has tested positive in the homeless community in Manchester.
We work with as many people as possible, and we try and do the best we can to keep the virus out of the shelter and staff and participants safe.
The new shelter cannot open until they hire some staff. They are looking for 6 full-time positions, 6 part-time positions, including maintenance. You can find information about that on our website, WMUR.com. Reporting in Manchester, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Drive-through COVID-19 testing center opens in Portsmouth. Patients pre-screened to see if they qualify for a test. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer. We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
This is the second day this drive-through COVID-19 testing tent has been operational here at Pease International Trade Port in Portsmouth. It's run by Convenient MD in partnership with the state. to try to safely and quickly determine if people have the virus. They are first screened by a call center who will determine if they should be tested. If they do qualify, they are given an appointment to come to this drive-through center. The testing process here only takes a few seconds.
They drive in, stay in their car, a swab is taken of their throat or their nose, and then sent to the lab for testing. They never have to leave their car, so we maintain social distancing. And, of course, our team has the appropriate personal protective equipment to protect themselves.
Officials say one of their major concerns is the safety of their healthcare providers. So once a test is done, they take off their gown and gloves, throw it into this garbage can. Then they go inside this smaller tent where they'll change into another gown and come out and get ready for another test. Officials say yesterday they did about 10 tests, but they are prepared to do up to 100 a day if necessary. Test results take anywhere from 3 to 5 days to be returned. In Portsmouth, Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dow features indicate a 200-point opening drop as investors look to job numbers. Features contract tied to major U.S. stock index pointed to a lower start to Friday's session, leaving Wall Street on track for modest weekly losses. And your coronavirus live updates. U.S. death toll tops 6,000 as global diagnosed cases cross 1 million. 250,000 people in the U.S. have been diagnosed with COVID-19. A pandemic of the novel coronavirus has now infected more than 1 million people across the globe, a quarter of whom are in the United States. The new respiratory virus, which caused an illness known officially as COVID-19, has spread to a dozen other countries on every continent except Antarctica since it was first detected in China back in December. More than 211,000 people diagnosed with the disease worldwide have recovered, while over 53,000 have died, according to data compiled by the Center for Systems Science and Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. The actual numbers are believed to be much higher due to testing shortages, many unreported mild cases, and suspicious that some governments are hiding the scope of their nation's outbreak. With more than 245,000 diagnosed cases of COVID-19, the U.S. has by far the highest national tally in the world. At least 6,058 people in the U.S. have died from the disease. In your biggest developments from today, global diagnosed cases cross 1 million and U.S. death toll tops 6,000. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.